So you ever had an episode where you were just like at the beginning you're like, okay, we'll see, and then by the end you're just like, what the this freaking episode? Oh, I think this is my favorite episode because of just how what the effery we get. God. I mean, there have been episodes. I've seen shows that have an episode where a certain character suddenly experiences a otherworldly experience. God. Okay, so this is Amphibia. This is episode 3B. This is the Stakeout. God, this episode. So, one thing. So this was the episode where I kind of realized the theme, like it kind of. This was kind of building on the themes of the last episode, and that it's the old versus new. So like because in this episode it's Anne versus Hop Hop really because they're kind of going back and forth at each other with like because Anne's like, well, where I'm from we don't do stuff like this, and then Hop Hop's like, well back in my day we were we like instead of like he's like instead of we didn't sit on a couch, we sat on rocks. It's like, okay. And then, like, even ridiculous stuff is like, you've been in the bathroom for 2 hours. So, I mean, it makes sense that Anne and Hop Hop would have that episode where they're not getting along, and Sprig and Paul, or Sprig is for the most part getting tired of it because he's like, if they keep going at each other, they'll eventually tear this whole family apart. Literally, and he's like, he points to a house that's down the road for them, where it's like, remember our neighbors? Remember how constantly they were fighting? Look what their house now. It's like, it's a wreck, and it's like we don't see them either. It's just like we just see the destroyed house, and we just see a for sale sign on the front. So it's just like left up to the imagination of just how dark that one went. So Sprig basically hatches a plan to get Hop Hop and Anne to get along, and what he does is he sets up this crime. He basically he steals corn from the farm, and he claims that someone did it, so that Anne and Hop Hop need to be on lookout at night to make sure the thief doesn't come back. And so I like it's like, wait a minute, why can't you do it, Sprig? And Sprig's like, oh, I have a very short attention span. Like literally that's what happens. He's like he's just talking, but then he sees a butterfly and he just and he literally just like watches it, and it's like that's how short his attention span is. And yeah. So and then Polly is like, Hop Hop's like, Polly's too young for this. So, yeah, basically Anne and Hop Hop are forced to do it, and at first, it kind of goes with them being with the bickering, they're still going back and forth, and even Hop Hop makes a joke like, well, see how long you stay up, and yeah, it seems like Anne is gonna fall asleep, but then she's like, I got this, and she whips out an energy drink. Berry Blazing Blast, I think that's the name of it, and it's like one of those energy drinks that you would see. It's a bottle, not a can. So like it's a bottle, and it's got spikes on it. I'm like, who puts that on a freaking product? Like even, I mean, geez, it's like that's messed up. And like Hop Pop has his own energy drink, but it's kind of like it's out of a pot. It's this like old stuff, and obviously it's his worldly stuff, so it's just, yeah. So and then the firm, so what's funny is they talk about their drinks and like saying, oh yeah, well mine's better, no it's not, yeah. And then so it then turns into them drinking the other person's energy drink. So like Anne drinks Hop Hop's, and then Hop Hop drinks Anne's, and you just see the looks on their faces after they taste them, after they drink them, and it's this like, and this, And then they get a laugh out of that. They're just like, you should have seen the look on your face. And it's just, oh, me? Well, you should have seen yours. And yeah, then at first it seems like, okay, they're going to get along. But then it immediately goes back to going downhill and they start bickering again. But then we get... The second it happened, it took me a minute. Like it took me a minute to. It took me a few seconds to figure out what was going on. But even, like I didn't figure it out before they figured it out, and they're just tripping. Oh my god! I couldn't stop laughing when it actually started happening because. So Anne and Hop Pop start freaking out mentally because. And as Anne explains it, their sheer body chemistry couldn't handle or was affected by the complete different worldly drinks that they just consumed because Anne just drank Hop Pop's energy drink from Amphibia, and Hop Pop just drank Anne's energy drink from Earth, so obviously the two of them are not exactly working right now. And I love how it's not just like the world that they're seeing; it just starts going nuts. It's like their actual bodies. Like Hop Pop's head turns into a teapot, and then. Or not a teapot, just a pot in general, and Anne's like hair starts glowing blue, and so the two of them are just freaking the heck out, and of course Sprig meanwhile the whole time is watching this like from his window, and he's just like seeing them. At first he sees them, he sees them bickering, but then he sees them getting along, but then he sees them bickering again, and when he sees them bickering again, that's when he tries to takes action, and he kind of goes a little psycho. He's like, I'll steal corn tonight, and I'll make him do another stakeout, and another, until they get along. Yeah, he goes cuckooing away too. So, but with Anne and Hop Pop tripping, they don't see, like, they see Sprig in the field, but they don't see him, like, as Sprig. They see him as this little dark, shadowy figure. So they're like, the corn thief! We have to stop him! And so Polly goes outside to try and, like, stop Sprig, and then that just makes things worse to, like, make... So, like, Anne and Hop Pop, they just see this shadowy figure then become, like, this corn monster. And so Hop Pop and Anne are like, we gotta do something! We gotta take it down! And then it just goes crazy. In terms of from their perspective, it goes crazy. Like, they start going, it goes full on anime. It's just like, ha, 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 ha. It's so stupid. And of course, I'm like, are we gonna cut back to Sprig and Polly and see it from their perspective, or are we just gonna and just see it from there? No, we do see Sprig and Polly's perspective. And it's just Anne and Hop Pop, they're just standing there, and it's just, their eyes are so wide open, they're like, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. I think the main reason why this episode is so funny to me is because I didn't see it coming. That was so... Oh man, it was so freaking ridiculous. And I mean, eventually it gets to the point where Anne and Hop Pop, like, they get out of it and they realize it's Sprig and Polly, and so the two of them make amends, and everyone seems pretty good, and they go inside, and Anne and Hop Pop have a pretty much a heart-to-heart moment, and then Sprig, meanwhile, is kind of traumatized by the whole thing because he you know, and he was attacked by these two. Like, because at first it seems like it's just Ann and Hop Hop were just doing like anime stuff, but then they actually started grabbing weapons from the tools from the farm and started trying to actually attack him with it, which was also what the WTF. And so Sprig kind of got traumatized by it, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this." And then I just the way they end this episode where Polly's just like, well, I'm gonna take a trip. Like she grabs the Anne's energy drinks and downs it, and it's just like, yeah, she starts. And honestly, I think that you couldn't have possibly ended the episode differently. Oh my gosh. You know, I've had episodes hook me. I've had shows hook me because an episode was like so interesting or so cool or just something like for Owl House, The Intruder was the episode that hooked me for the show because the mystery with, you know, Edith's curse, Gravity Falls hooked me with the third episode hooked me because the wax episode, because I really like the creativity of the idea of the wax figures coming to life. The fight I thought was really good, and I just love the overall mystery behind it and just how Dipper and Mabel really worked off each other. And I was like, that was the moment where I'm like, okay, this is a really, I mean, the overarching mystery isn't, I mean, I was 11 at the time, so I was more for the characters and the world that they were in rather than the actual mystery. So like that was that episode where I was really pulled in. But if I look back on it now, definitely the ending of the first episode is what would hook me nowadays. But like I said, I'm looking back on that. This episode, I'm pretty much hooked on this show just for the sheer craziness that it can produce. Like, I mean, I know there's a story, and I mean, technically we have a story with Anne being here, but I think once the actual lore and story and mystery kicks in, that's when I'm fully gonna be like, let's do this. But right now, I'm just in for the madness. Because if there's more episodes like this down the line, there's probably not. This is probably the only episode where it goes like to this level of WTF. But I'm ready for episodes that just pull something like this out of their. God, I've seen this. I think I've replayed this episode like 5 times already. Just the second half alone, oh man, I don't know why. Just moments like that where just someone just goes, goes, like when that happens, I'm done. It's so funny. I'm sorry. It's just. Yeah, this episode was fun. Alright, I think I should stop before I continue laughing or just going ridiculous mode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. 13, 15, I don't know how long this video is. Hope you guys enjoyed that much time of madness. So, yeah. That was episode 3B, so hope to see you guys on the next one.